I do want to ask Callie this though. Given everything that's been happening over the course of this year in the pandemic, have you ever fear for his safety? Like, of course, you're a dentist. You're operating on people's mouths, and doing with that, and with all of the fear and anxiety that comes with, there's that. But do you feel for his safety when it comes to, he can't change the way he looks. Like I can't change the way I look, as
Yeah,
much
it's
as I
funny you
want to
say
try.
that because I've been thinking about that. Like, I don't, like a few weeks ago, Frankie said something about like, things might be different or better if we stayed in Illinois. And I just reminded him that one time he was at like a stop sign and these two white guys in a truck or whatever came up next to him and they like yelled, expletives, like slurs. And I'm like, the Midwest is not friendly to Chinese people for whatever reason. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
Midwest is, as hard as it tries to be, kind of ethnocentric at times. Like, it can be, depending on where you are, obviously. And we lived in a white area. My family lived in sort of a white area. It was relatively blended, but not where we lived, like our neighborhood. But I do have that fear, like, and part of it is because Frankie likes to mouth off.
Mm-hmm.
Like Frankie will defend himself, like he'll get aggressive, and that does make me nervous.
But see, and that's another thing. Like, is it? And I'm not saying that it's because I'm an Asian man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we supposed to be okay with racial attacks?
Absolutely not.
Like, are we supposed to stand by and let them attack us
Mm-hmm.
versus, putting up a fight?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Yeah, safety matters. Like, I'm not gonna, like, if two guys versus one, maybe I could take them. No, but it's scary because, like, how do you know, like, this situation, can you diffuse it? And obviously you
Right.
want to diffuse situations. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to fight these guys, I'm going to, you know punch like common sense into them, like, you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have fought me. um it's just like, these racial slurs are going to keep coming. You want to educate them, but they're stuck in their ways, like,
Mm-hmm.
they're thinking like, oh, let's make fun of this guy, let's
Mm-hmm.
drive up for no other reason. It doesn't benefit them in any way.
Right.
Maybe it gives
Mm-hmm.
them an ego boost, and they're like, all right,
Yeah, big
like, I
man.
feel I feel like a big man in my big truck, like, awesome. But it doesn't do anything else other than make you feel good, in a sense, just to put down another human being, and are we supposed to, take it lying down? Are we just supposed to take it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the scary thing, because I think, like, Asians are getting to that point. We're trying to figure out our identity in this, because if we don't fight back, the rooftop Koreans, like, oh, we
Mm-hmm.
gotta hold our ground, we gotta protect what's ours. Um, I think we obviously we need to, but
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes like we're the yellow plague. We're the bad guys for standing up against the oppressors, So it the tint of racism is always going to be there, just because there are races.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think this problem is that there's no pan humanity yet. Like, we're not that weird, like, mix.
Yeah, blended
The
society.
blended society where everyone is homogenous.
Yeah.
There's gonna be segregation. People want to be with what they're familiar with, their cliques. Um, and we're just it sucks. Of course, we want people to intermingle. There's got to be globalism. Sharing cultures,
Mm-hmm.
blending things only enhances our society. We're
Mm-hmm.
only gonna get better because we all learn from each other, and I truly believe in that. But there's gonna be sex. There's gonna be people who are gonna be like, no, I just want to make fun of these people. I want to beat them up. I want to hurt them. And I don't know if we're ever. It's funny because we're getting back to. I like reading about, like, the civilization scale. Will we ever become a star-faring, like, interstellar species? Will we ever be able to go beyond our I guess, our solar system? Because we're gonna get to Mars, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
the scary thing is, like, will we destroy ourselves? Will we ever never get up on the Kardashev scale, where
Mm-hmm.
we're unable to work together enough and we end up destroying ourselves? We're one of those societies, like, if you run a simulation, on this planet, these beings get to a certain point where they're about to advance onwards because they could with technology, but they ended up nuking themselves because everyone hated each other, and that society ends up becoming extinct. Are we going to be that society? And that really scares me, because seeing how things are, it there's nothing that proves that it's gonna be different than that.
Yeah, like, are we going forward?
Right. I mean, the Cold War was literally just decades ago, like, it's scary. We could have killed each other. And now it's just like everyone's still hating each other. Probably not to the point where we're going to launch nukes, but it's like, are we ever going to unite? Are we ever going to be on common ground and blend and share ideas and
It's
grow?
like Annihilation, right? No, not Annihilation. What's the one called where the aliens come?
Oh,
Land a big spaceship and we all
yeah,
have to learn
yeah,
the
yeah.
language.
Yeah.
Is it Captive
Oh my
State?
gosh. Huh?
What is it?
Captive State?
No.
No, not that one.
It's the one movie about the lady. She's a linguist and she's learning alien
Oh,
language.
Arrival.
Arrival,
Yes.
right?
It's just like that. Like, what's gonna be our arrival event? That
Right.
bonds us together.
Which apparently has to be sci-fi, because it's not possible in real life. It has to be sci-fi, because
Yeah, like
we're just never gonna come together. Like the one virus that will strip all of our languages. We're unable to communicate. Now we have to join together and work together. Like, it's got to be literally fantasy, because it's like, when it comes down to it, people don't like each other. They don't like hanging out with each other. You stick to cliques, and that's the problem. You're never gonna step out of, like, the motivational talk, like, get out of your comfort zone, meet people that will surround yourself with people who will help you grow. Don't surround yourself with yes men. But literally, that's everyone. That is everyone, and it sucks, because we're never gonna advance as a society. There's gonna be people who will, but I don't think as a society we'll ever move forward without changing that. And when is our arrival event? I don't know. Is it possible?
Yeah, is it possible? That's the
Yeah.
main thing.
What will unite us?
Right.
An alien attack.
Because even in real life, if Arrival happened, it wouldn't be portrayed in the movie. And
Right.
it's a high chance it wouldn't. Like,
Right.
we wouldn't come together. We would fight till the end.
Right. And the movie, I mean, I don't know if you have you watched that movie, The Arrival?
He knew what we were talking about, so I assume.
I don't. It's been a while. Surprisingly, that movie's been out for like more than 5 years at this point, right?
Yeah.
That's not a new movie.
It's not
Yeah.
a new movie, but there's a spoiler alert. There is a crisis, and we like the world.
Sorry for Arrival spoilers.
Yeah, so yeah, but people don't want to work together, because in the end, people are thinking, oh, alien species, there's secrets that we can harness from them, and like in the beginning, all the countries are trying to work together and try to figure out what's going on. But in somewhere along the way, people are starting to distrust each other. Countries are like, China pulls out, Russia pulls out, like, like, just knowing how the UN votes, you can probably see, like, oh, certain countries will fall out of communication with the other countries that want to work together, and people just start, the fear sets in, the unknown sets in, and it literally isn't until a miracle happens that someone, like, connects everyone again. And that's what's scary. Like, I don't think there's going to be a miracle that's going to happen that connects us. We have to work together. We have to make a conscious effort. And will we do that? Unsure, because people find it like it's easier to yell slurs from across the highway,
Yeah.
Like, that's just like, I feel good.
It just means that a Star Trek reality is much more harder than an Expanse reality.
Right. I haven't watched The Expanse, but I heard it's really good. But yeah, I would assume that. Yeah, like, we're not gonna get to that point where everyone's gonna be, able to grow beyond our boundaries of solar system, just because I don't think we'll work together enough. Yeah.
There are some things that I haven't gone over. I don't know if you're still down.
Go ahead. No, please. Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah, just let me know. But in terms, we went really into a sci-fi tangent, but
sorry.
But in terms of bringing back the the Asian American community, I think one of the things that I've really was kind of like reflective. It's just how I guess we were raised within kind of like the Asian context, or like the Asian ideals and like ideas of like being Asian American. And this notion that, you know, we have to just stay quiet, like, you know, don't cause trouble, or like um and like you know, don't rock the boat at all, right? Like we feel that if we try to ask for a raise, then that's overstepping a bound, right? But in the context of the United States, like that's just something you do, right? You just ask for a raise. And so I think to some degree, and I'm trying to blame Asian Americans, right? Like that's, I'm not trying to victim blame, but like I think we need to address some of the cultural things that we grew up with to start really, you know, understanding and like dealing with this situation of like anti-Asian bias. You know, if we're saying that, you know, stop AAPI hate, right? If they're saying that there are 3,000 reported cases, but on top of that, there's going to be more. There's more cases that we know that there are out there, but there are people that just refuse to report because for one way or another, they feel like that my material sorry, my material like benefit, like there's nothing that's going to be done to change my condition, you know, nothing is not worth it, or I don't want to trust the authorities to deal with my plight or my situation. Like we need to really understand why that's the
Which is a
case.
fair thought. I don't
Hmm.
know if people can trust authorities with their plight. Because what are the cops going to do other than
Hmm.
be like, oh, we'll take your statement. Yeah, write a report. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, if you could put in a manhunt, like you could put in security cam footage, then maybe you have a chance, you know?
Hmm.
But I feel like it's generally really hard for any of this to be persecuted, prosecuted. Like we
Hmm.
just can't do it like effectively. And another thing is like in Asian cultures, there's like the saving face type of thing, you know. I hope this isn't still a big thing, but a lot of them would be like, yeah, I'm not going to report it because I feel like there's shame in it. I just don't feel like another thing is the bystander effect. No one's going to help me. You know, I'm going to stand. I'm literally going to be the one asking for help, and no one's going to help me. And you know, I feel bad, but no one's going to pity me. You know, type of thing.
Hmm.
So there's multiple problems with, you know, this scenario, and it just sucks.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think like I was gonna say earlier, not to interrupt, but I was gonna say earlier that like I think part of the reason that, or like maybe part of the reason that Asians are being targeted is like all of that plays into the racist stereotype that an Asian person is meek. You know, like they won't fight back. They're like just like the meeker race, I guess, in America. A lot of people still feel that way. You know, the Asians are quiet. They won't speak. They won't talk back. Like they, you know, like they won't fight back. And so I think when people are like choosing a random target or whatever the hell is going on, they are targeting Asian people, thinking like oh, you're elderly and you're Asian and you're not gonna do anything if I jump you, if I stab you, if I knock you down. And if it's an Asian in an Asian area, they might be thinking that no one else is gonna do anything either, you know,
Hmm.
because of
Right.
those like outdated racist stereotypes that exist. Like it's crazy trying to apply sense to senseless attacks, but I guess trying to pinpoint reasons, I don't know, like that could play into it. But
Yeah, I feel like I mean, our community has to like strengthen itself and figure out what is the best way to band together, but not become a, you know, menacing part of society. Like we're the Asian gang now. Like we're gonna, you know,
Hmm.
it's funny because I did see another Vox video
Hmm.
of you know, a family who patrols you know, San Francisco's Chinatown, because they were like, I grew up here and it just sucks that this is happening to people who would be my grandparents, my uncle, my aunt, you know, stuff like that, and I don't want that happening. And they want to walk the streets with their kids, and tell like shopkeepers like, hey, we're here, like let us know if something were to happen, let us know if you see something. And I see that as like, the vigilante thing, but it does help because you have someone who's trying to go out there and trying to connect and make some kind of network. Because
Hmm.
I feel like I this is just my feeling, there isn't a very big like cohesive community in the Asian like cities. Um, and it's hard for people to find backup in a sense, you know?
Yeah, not
Yeah.
that we as there needs to be one right now,
Right,
like
Mhm.
right,
for the purposes of the current climate, like
right.
what's happening.
You
I
were saying,
think
sorry?
I was gonna say, like, even as seeing it as a view as like a Cambodian American, and like how elders in the Cambodian community talk about other Asians in the Cambodian community, I'm sure there's so much infighting. Like you would think, like we perpetrate some fucked up ideas, amongst other Asian folks, and I'm just saying this, like, this is real, like these are some of the things that they would say about certain people behind closed doors and things like that. Like
Right.
we probably said some very very bad shit, or at least were witness to some folks saying really fucked up shit about other Asian groups, and I'm just like,
Right.
what the hell, I think if
I
this
think
doesn't
it's
bring people.
almost human nature to put others down
Mhm,
because you want to be seen as better. You want to compare yourself. That saying, like, never compare yourself to others, right? You'll find
mhm,
like happiness that way because otherwise you're not only are you making yourself unhappy, but eventually, yeah, you channel that into hate and you're
mhm,
like, man, that other Asian group, they're the worst. Like blah blah blah. Let
mhm.
me get other people to be on my side and just hate on them, but neither of you guys are really moving up throughout the ranks. You're just like a
Yeah, it's not
little.
it's not lifting each other.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. We should be helping each other so
Mhm,
that we're seen as a, powerful, strong group in society and not like, oh, someone that people can pick on. And it's not like that right now.
Yeah, united
mhm,
we stand.
Yeah, it's not like that right now, and it sucks. Like they just look at us and we don't have a sense of that. They probably don't even know that we infight, but one of the reasons why we're this weak is because of the infighting. It's
mhm.
because we put each other down. But I feel like that's in every race.
Yeah, I was gonna say ethnocentrism
Yeah,
exists in every culture, and
yeah,
it's like more common in some cultures or stronger in some cultures than
right,
others, but it's everywhere. Like
right,
every breed of white.
right,
you know,
Yeah.
plenty of different types of like Asian groups in different communities are gonna like look at other Asian groups and say
right,
like, okay, like
right.
Ha-
we're gonna stay over here. Like,
It takes a special
mhm,
discipline to be looking at other groups and be like, they're not like us. What are their strengths? What are their
yeah,
weaknesses? It's like war. You
mhm,
have to see their strengths, you see their weaknesses, but because we're not fighting them, you shouldn't be exploiting their weaknesses. We should be learning about their strengths. And
mhm,
then you, maybe, if you're a very nice person, would offer insights of your strength to the other side. So then both sides can be like, "Oh wow, we're missing out on this. You're missing out on that. Let's work together, collaborate."
mhm.
And it's not happening. It's just not
Yeah.
it's not realistic because people want to be the best. You want to be number one. And so you put others down. That's just
Mhm.
how it runs. Yeah. And
And
that's why
it.
we're not going to be a interstellar species because America is going to want to be number one, but we know China is going to want to be number one. So
yes.
it's
And
hard.
it's so stupid because in the realm like of number one, what does that get you?
Right.
You know?
A
Mhm,
flag on the
Yeah,
moon,
like
you know?
the
mhm,
ability to say you're number one. Congrats. Like,
Right.
mhm.
Sorry for
The-
being so
What?
nihilistic,
Well,
but
well.
I'm dumbing it down because not a lot of people think about that. I feel like
Mhm,
they don't really think about why people don't work together, and I think it's because we want to be. You want to tell yourself I'm better than another person, like the self-worth thing,
mhm.
but you're worth something, but
That's
can't
true.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, can't I mean if Brian and I, you and I, you have so many strengths and I would want to learn from you so that
Mhm,
so that I could become as good as you. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I want to know all of Brian's weaknesses so that I could tear him down, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
I only want to see you succeed, and I would
Mm-hmm.
hope you want to see me succeed, you know? That
Yeah.
type of thing. That's what I wish our communities were like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not like that right now. And
Yeah.
one day hopefully we could get there, but it like I said earlier, it takes like conscious effort. You literally have to do that because it's so easy to be like, oh man, that person's dumb. What they did is dumb. Oh, this podcast sucks. I hate
Yeah.
it. Like you're just flaming. You're not criticizing with
Mm-hmm.
constructive criticism. You know, you're not giving us any feedback, and thus we end up flaming you. You know, we're gonna be like, man, this person is dumb for criticizing us for without giving us feedback, and that's why wars begin. Yes, exactly.